speaking of destabilizing forces in the world right now, there's something that I don't know if you've encountered yet, but it just feels like there were things going wrong at every level from every angle. Since you've been away and not mostly, cooking for yourself, you haven't had occasion to be at our local food co-op recently, to be shopping for produce and other perishable goods. So you may not have noticed, as presumably some in our audience have, that there have been more than a week of big gaps on grocery shelves. And it turns out that a publicly traded company that I'd never heard of before, called UNFI, United Natural Foods Incorporated, was hacked on June 5th, I think it is. And they are the North America's largest publicly traded wholesale distributor of natural, organic, and conventional foods. They went entirely down. They provided much of the perishable foods and some non-perishable foods to over 30,000 retail outlets across the United States, including being the major distributor to Whole Foods, and also to many co-ops, because again, natural and organic foods is their specialty. And they just stopped all deliveries because they'd been hacked and they had no ability to do their business. And they're still down. And it's still not clear what happened exactly, except hacked. And there's, phased in now work happening. Yeah, I don't need to show anything. So,
what?
Yeah.
All right. So ostensibly, there should be a huge amount of organic foods rotting
Exactly.
in that pipe.
So they have suffered, I don't have any of the numbers up now, but something like, 17% drop in market cap, of course. But, more to the point for the rest of us, they're a middleman that no one knew existed, unless you were in the business. And so, we have a friend in the business who has been a manager of food co-op. And I'm looking at the shelves going, it looks fine, right? He says, well, we with canned goods, we can have enough backstock that we can make things look full, because you look at the expiration date on these things and we're still several years out. And so we can have enough backstock if we have storage to keep those shelves looking full. But look around at the other places in the store, including produce, and you find things missing. And my thought was, well, okay, but it's seasonal. You're talking about buying organic. I don't expect there to always be, unlike if you shop at, one of the big corporate chains buying commercial commodity produce, where like any time of year I need to find green beans, any time of year I need to find oranges. Like, no, if you're trying to shop organic, it's and seasonally available. When something is missing, you figure it got bought out, or it just wasn't available yet, right? And, we don't have a Whole Foods on the island. So presumably it was more obvious to people at Whole Foods, but just like this interface of like natural, organic and corporate, right? Because they do tend to have, green beans from Chile at all times of year, right? But giant cyber attack on the nation's largest wholesale distributor that connects the suppliers, the growers, the suppliers to the retailers. It's down, and yes, incredible amount of food waste. Where's it going? What's happening to it? We don't know. But also it points out the incredible fragility of all of our systems.
Fragility, and I must tell you, this sets off my spidey sense.
And this happened days before what's happening in the Middle East began with this newest round. So, there's just so much happening right now,
right,
that it's impossible to keep track of anything on any of everything on any of these channels, much less a sufficient amount to bring yourself to feeling confident that you know what you're seeing on multiple channels.
Well,
and so as you were talking, I was like, oh, wait, like there's this other huge thing that we haven't even talked about because you just got home, and I've been thinking about but I don't know what to make of it.
I've not heard it even mentioned. All right. here's a screenplay for you. The cyber attack is designed to interrupt the flow of these organic goods so that the elites can preserve them for their disaster shelters that they tell us they are not building, but clearly are. You're not signing on to my screenplay.
You know, we're talking about such remarkable volumes of food, and no, not really.
Well, but these people are preparing to live without our help for some time. And the key to the screenplay is that these people, as much as they're perfectly comfortable having us eat toxic garbage, themselves know better.
Yep.
And therefore, if they were going to divert a bunch of food into some sort of preservation mechanism for themselves, it would be the organic stuff.
It would be the organic stuff. And I guess, my initial objection is having, it's been a couple of years since we're just not settled here yet. But, I spent some time, many of the summers when our boys were young, canning and preserving a certain amount of food. We have not been in a position to grow our own, but we had, local farms that we knew the farmers, and we were able to get delicious food from our local farmers, and canned and preserved and such. And at least at the small kitchen level, it's a tremendous amount of work, right? And it would require a tremendous amount of facilities as well. On the other hand,
that's what these people do.
Yeah.
Facilities.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a screenplay there. We should think about that.
No, we should not.
Well, that screenplay makes a certain number of predictions.
What?
Doesn't matter.